Hey, what's up, everybody? We are back. Face Off Sports Network, Fantasy Savvy, Steve D'Angelo, Fantasy Football Anonymous. Ernie is in the building for yet another best ball draft. This time we're going to start with DraftKings. We'll see if we have time to get into Underdog as well. We do have game 5 of the Western Conference Finals. We'll see if Oklahoma City can wrap up the series there. Up 3-1. The Pacers get a big win last night. They are now up 3-1. So the Knicks got to pull something crazy off. Got some Yankee baseball later tonight in Anaheim. I actually did get to check out that stadium one time, and I did see a Yankee Anaheim game, which was kind of cool. And then we got OTAs underway, Ernie. We got a little bit of news going on in the NFL as well. Have you checked out some of what's going on in the OTAs so far?
Yeah, no, I've seen little bits and pieces here, man. It's nice to see what some of your sleepers are getting a little buzz this early already. But nothing crazy, just some guys, looking the part, some guys a little bit slower, things of that nature.
Yeah, it's good that we actually get some news though.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
reading the burbs, like nothing was popping off. Now we're getting a little bit, here and there.
Right.
Looks like, the Giants are going to mix Jackson Dart into the first team offense. Stephon Diggs, partying on a boat with like 3 beautiful females, not at OTAs. But again, he's not supposedly going to come back till week 4. He's recovering from that torn ACL. But, I just get Diggs, man, I just get bad vibes from him. He's kind of like, a lot of it is psychological in fantasy for me too. Like, I look at like personalities of players too. It's not just all stats and what these guys do. Like, if I get bad vibes on a player, I don't like to go after them. And Diggs is one guy, like, it's a great situation. He's not going to be back till week 4. He's coming off an ACL. He was already a distraction in Buffalo. They shipped him out of there. Now he's in New England, of all places, to, maybe to just get back at the Bills. But what are your vibes on Diggs right now?
Yeah, man. So it's funny because I feel the same way as you, but what kind of throws me off is I love Mike Vrabel. I love Drake May. I love what they're already doing. I like the direction New England's in. I'm high on New England this year. I wouldn't be surprised if they made the playoffs. But like when it comes to Diggs, now he's a 31-year-old receiver coming off an ACL tear, right?
Right.
And you already have like, he's kind of, living the life right now. Like you see him at basketball games with Cardi B. You see him
Yeah.
on a boat with some substance in his hand, and his coach is already, and Vrabel's like, a no bullshit guy. And, he's already having
Yeah.
to deal with the questions about Stephon Diggs. And, really, I think Stephon Diggs was to give Drake May a reliable target, like help him develop. You look at that 3-year deal, it really was a 1-year deal when you read the details, right? So there is an out next year. Listen, I think he's been on a steady decline. I was actually kind of impressed with the production he was putting up in Houston in the beginning of the year last year.
Yeah.
But this is a player again, like him entering an X role and being the number one for Drake May is what kind of leaves me optimistic about his value this year. But I don't really
Yeah.
want anything to do with him in Dynasty. I don't really trust him. I don't know how this experiment with the Patriots is going to work. Right? They drafted a rookie receiver that I love. So I think it's a good landing spot. I think he might be a good value this year. But beyond that, I don't really want anything to do with him.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, to me, he's kind of going the Odell Beckham route a little bit. Which
Mm.
obviously didn't end well for him.
Right.
But let's try to get into this draft room. We'll see how fast it fills up. But we could talk about a little bit more news blurs. We got Jamie in the room. Our boy Jamie says, "What up?"
What's good,
Uh,
Jamie?
Anything you guys want to discuss? Best ball, dynasty, redraft, high stakes, any type of fantasy football talk. Any certain players you want to talk some NBA playoffs as well. We could do it. But let's pull it up. We are going to enter the NFL best ball $15 million millionaire, 2 million to first.
Yep.
DraftKings, we've only done underdog so far. We've only done the best ball mania. DraftKings, I noticed last year, I only did like 5 or 6. I did way more underdog, and I like advanced in like 4 out of the 6. So obviously, I got to do a lot more DraftKings because the rooms just seem softer. It seems a little bit more casual, and most of the sharper players are playing an underdog for the most part, is what I think. Whereas DraftKings is more of like a broad spectrum of like anybody and their mother.
Jamie, I'd go Roshan. I just saw your message. I would go Roshan there because Swift is a little more injury prone than Bijan, right? Obviously, if Bijan got hurt, Algiers a league winner, but I would go Roshan. He's a bigger, more durable back. That running back room is kind of, thin behind Swift. But again, they might sign Nick Chubb, so this could all change. But
Yeah.
if they don't, then I like Roshan.
Yeah, I like Roshan too. But Algier, very high quality back. Obviously, he's playing behind Bijan. But, Roshan, you mentioned the other night, Jamie, maybe he takes that David Montgomery role or that Jamal Williams role. Remember when Jamal Williams had like 20 touchdowns for the Lions? I mean, maybe he just falls into the end zone.
Yeah, dude.
Maybe,
And we
maybe,
know
maybe, maybe gets 8, 9 touchdowns. I don't know. It's possible. Maybe Roshan has a revival this year.
And and look, I hated my Caleb Williams pick in our dynasty draft, but the reason why I was even actually, optimistic about, like, you look at what the Bears are doing, right? And like Ben
Yeah.
Johnson, the investments to the offensive line, like they went straight offense their first 3 picks. Like it actually could be a very fantasy
No, I
friendly
mean
offense.
everything. You're right. Everything is lining up. I mean, there's nothing else the Bears could possibly do to really
Right.
improve the offense. I mean, they've done everything. They improved the offensive line. They got the best offensive coordinator in the game. I mean, they're doing everything possible to make it easy for Caleb.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm just banking on the player. Like what I
I
last
know.
now, I Caleb could definitely make improvements. And by the way, you did make a good tweet about that. You put a lot of good information on that. It's just, it's just one of the players I'm fading because I just feel like it's gonna take him a little while to figure out in the NFL. Now it could all work. Maybe it works the second half of the year. He's certainly got everything in place to make it work. If he does get the protection, it definitely could work. But I think he's got to work on a lot of things. So it's just one player I'm fading. I love DJ Moore. I'm not really the biggest Adunze guy. I don't really like Swift too much. I did like Roshan, but he's had a little bit of a rough start to his first couple seasons. But let's get into this draft, and then
Yes, sir.
we'll touch on some more stuff. So, you ready to dial it up?
Let's roll, brother.
All right, DK, fast 30 seconds. This is 20 rounds. If you guys are listening now, you can get into the millionaire draft, $20 entry. We are going to enter in 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
I'm in.
Yeah, it looks like
We have
we got 4
6.
out of 12.
Make sure you're in the 30-second one.
Yeah, I am in the 30-second.
I got 6 out of 12.
Oh, that's weird. Hold on. Let me reload my screen, see what it says. Oh, yeah, it says 6 out of 12. Okay, good.
All right, you scared me for a second. I was like, how is that possible?
Well, I mean, we would have, that wouldn't have made sense because we're gonna get in the same draft, So
Right.
like, all right, so let's get back to a little bit more news while we wait for this baby to fill up. There was a couple interesting notes that I noticed. Caleb put to rest, the whole thing that he didn't want to be a Bear. He said he switched his mind. He came out and, made it public. So that, that was smart. You kind of had to address that at some point, which he did. Josh Downs, your boy, Ernie, already has a soft tissue injury, did not participate in practice. Now, it's way early on. He's got plenty of time to heal up. This guy, last year he was coming off a high ankle sprain. He missed like the first, I don't know what it was, first 4 or 5 weeks, and he came back and he looked fine. And a lot of players don't look fine coming off a high ankle. So, credit to him. He did have plenty of time to recover from that. I think he had like almost 2 or 3 months because it happened pretty early on in camp. So just something to monitor. Obviously soft tissue injuries can linger. And he did have that injury last year, so he doesn't want to get that injury tag on him. Marshawn Lloyd, another guy who's been injured throughout his rookie career. He's working with the rehab group. So again, it's very early. Last year he dealt with hip, ankle, and hamstring issues, and also had that appendicitis. So he came back from the injuries. Then he had the freaking appendix thing he had to deal with. So it was just a disaster of a rookie season for Marshall Lloyd. Kyle Pitts dealing with another injury. I mean, this guy is just, yeah, it's just, I mean, I was never a big Kyle Pitts guy. I always think it was too much hype, but then he became a value, and I'm like, all right, well, I'll pick him in some spots,
Right.
feel like he's got some talent. But every team I've had him on, and I maybe had him in like 2 or 3 leagues, and I do a lot of leagues, and just never worked out. Just total inconsistency. He's just not a good route runner. He doesn't really play aggressive. He's not really good at 50-50 balls. So, yeah, I'm done with Kyle Pitts. How do you feel about Kyle Pitts?
Dude, the only way I was reinvesting into Kyle Pitts is like I wanted to see him go to like Denver or like the Chargers. You know what I mean? Somewhere where like the tight end's going to be heavily utilized and he's connected to an elite quarterback and an elite coach. And him staying in Atlanta scares me. I don't think there's really going to be any change there. I think Penix is a solid quarterback. I think Drake London is obviously going to take, the next big step on that team. I think Kyle Pitts is, Kyle Pitts, man. I think he was just a really good, freaky, athletic college tight end, but I don't know if it's ever going to translate to the NFL. So I am personally avoiding. I think, you can get Evan Engram, a million rounds later, who I feel like is just a better
Right.
tight end right now.
Right. Kenny Pickett, he was running with the first team offense, but they're saying they're going to give all these guys a shot. Our draft did fill, so we'll get started shortly here. And Jaden Daniels, a little bit put on some muscle. I guess he's put on some weight, so a little bit thicker, which I think he needed to do.
Yes, I
Maybe a
agree.
little too skinny, so that's good. That helps.
Well, I was
If
just
you are
afraid
a
he was going to
Daniels
get
owner,
hit.
yeah, I know that would probably help him deal with injury a little bit better.
I agree. Agreed.
Right. And that is the one more big thing is Malik Neighbors is dealing with a toe injury that's bothered him since college. So, again,
He's a little injury prone, Malik.
yeah. I mean, it's
He missed
really
some time last year, dude. And he at the end of the year, he almost was like they were thinking about benching him.
right. He got what did he have? A concussion last year? He got hit. Remember, he came down hard that one time. And he missed like a game or two. Is
One
that what
was
it
a
was?
concussion, and then something was I think it might have been a groin. I don't
Okay.
know, but
Right.
yeah, I feel like there's a little bit of injury bug to him. But again, Malik, I feel like he's like a stud. I'm not investing into him this year in the first round. I don't think Russell Wilson is that much of an upgrade to Daniel Jones. If he is an upgrade, like apparently, I forgot which analyst said it. It was like one of my favorite quotes of the offseason. He goes, I love how the Giants quarterback plan is to invest in 2 quarterbacks that had significantly less interest than the quarterback that they cut. So I think that just tells you about, the Giants clown show that they got going on. I
Yeah.
think Malik Neighbors is an awesome dynasty player to have, right? Because even if he does have a down year, like I think he will, next year is going to be awesome because he's obviously an elite talent. There's a good chance the Giants are picking top 3. And then they'll probably be forced, the new regime will probably be forced to take one of the elite quarterbacks. But yeah, this year I am scared on Malik. He's a first round value. Like I do you trust Russell Wilson? Because I do not. I don't
Well,
trust
I
him.
mean, I think Russ could at least make Malik produce. And Jameis, if he comes in, we know that he just slings it like
Jameis,
a
yeah.
freaking nut job.
Yeah.
So
Jameis,
yeah, I
I'd
mean,
be more
and
inclined.
Malik did it with freaking Tim Boyle and Daniel Jones and who else played quarterback for the Giants last year? DeVito. So
He looked good with Daniel Jones the first 4 games before he got hurt. He was producing, man.
yeah. So I did get the first pick in the draft. I took Jamar Chase. No shocker there. He's been going number 1 in pretty much all these drafts. Again, last year was CMC. The year before that, it was Jefferson. Didn't work out for either guy. So maybe it's 3 years in a row. But again, you mix these up as you do a lot of these drafts. And Jamar Chase, if him and Burrow stay healthy, is absolutely a lethal fantasy combination. Where are you at in the draft, Ernie? Oh, you're
I
coming
am
up pick
at
7.
7, and I'm going to do a slight reach here. I'm going to take my boy Nico Collins. By the way, I love your pick of Jamar Chase. I think that's the safest pick. 25-year-old receiver, in an offense that's going to be in a bunch of shootouts. Love that pick. I went Nico because, again, Nico, the first 5 games of the season, he was on pace for 2,000 yards. He was easily going to be a top 3 fantasy wide receiver. I think his value, he's going like top of the second round here. I think the upside is way too high. The Texans drafted 2 rookie receivers, which I think will help Nico. I think it will kind of take some of the attention off of him. And now the offense isn't, truly one-dimensional. But I think he's a value here. I really think he's going to finish top 5 fantasy wide receiver this year, especially if he puts together a healthy season.
Yeah, I kind of like Higgins, the receiver they drafted. I feel like he's gonna be pretty good in that
Great
system.
player.
I kind of like what I saw out of him. So maybe a little bit of a threat to Nico, but Nico, you're right, is still the alpha. CJ Stroud's got to play a little bit better this year. The protection wasn't great last year, but Tunzel supposedly was a problem. He was letting up a lot of sacks, so maybe that was one of the reasons they shipped him off. So it'll be interesting to see. Now, DraftKings, sometimes you see a little bit of weird stuff going on in the first round, but so far, nothing too crazy. I took Chase and Jefferson, Barkley, Bijan, Gibbs, Lamb, Nico, Puka, Amon-Ra, Malik, CMC, and now Fowler's up for last pick of the first pick of the second. So pretty standard stuff here, right, so far?
Yeah. I mean,
Crazy.
yeah, Puka, St. Brown, Neighbors. Yeah, that checks out.
Yeah, sometimes you see Genty. I did a high stakes draft the other night, and Genty went 5th overall before Saquon in a redraft.
Holy crap.
Yeah,
I mean, dude, I love Genty and I like the direction the Raiders are in. But it's like, dude, they're probably in, arguably the best division in football. And it's like, bro, their offensive line is a work in progress, So it's like, dude, he's going to get a ton of volume this year. That I'm not worried about. It's just like, do you think he's going to be able to produce elite RB1 numbers with the Raiders offensive setup right now? I think that might be a little bit of a stretch, even for the talent that Genty possesses. So that's
yeah.
to
I
me,
mean,
that's crazy.
it was Memorial Day weekend. Maybe he had a couple beers. He wanted to get bold. I mean, I don't mind taking Genty if I'm like I would do it at times, but yeah, like generally, I'm not taking him over Saquon.
Right.
So it might have been Memorial Day. He might have been a little buzzed, and he's like, So. All right, Genty. Then AJ Brown goes, Brock Bowers, Brian Thomas Jr. Here in the beginning of the second round. Now, what are you looking at here coming up?
I'm at 18. I'm thinking either Drake London or Trey McBride. I usually like to get, Drake London went. So I'm probably going to go Trey McBride. I like Trey McBride. I think he's the number 1 receiver in Arizona. I know Marvin Harrison's obviously a freak, but in best ball, I like to lock up getting an elite tight end, just so I know that I'm getting high end production from that position. So I'm going to go ahead here and take Trey McBride because talking about like Devin A-Chain, like I love A-Chain, but it's like I don't know if I trust Tua. I don't know if I trust A-Chain's size. So give me an elite tight end right here that's going to finish top 3.
Yeah, and DK a little bit different from Underdog, where you get 1 point PPR. And Underdog, it's half point PPR. So pays a little bit more. McBride, what? How many catches did he have last year?
Dude, he had 1 million. He only had 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. That was fluky. So he should get double-digit touchdowns.
Yes, I think positive regression. I think double digits in the realm of possibility. But either way, like he's scoring more than 2 touchdowns. I would be shocked. But like, dude, the volume is there. Like this is why he's a monster for PPR. Like I wouldn't be shocked if he finished tight end 1. And I think him and Brock Bowers are both incredible. But I think just like for the situation Trey McBride's in, he might be in the best tight end situation in the entire NFL.
Yeah, I was
just based.
In our dynasty league, I was tempted to take him and Bowers and McBride. I was going to do it.
You should have, dude. That would have been nasty. Tight end premium
Yeah,
too.
I did.
That would have
I
been
took Gibbs, so I mean, but yeah, I mean, I do like that, especially when you're getting 2 points per reception. But
oh yeah.
I just kind of wanted to get Gibbs there. All right.
No, I hear you.
But I take Bucky Irving, end of the second round, first pick of the first round now. Where are we going? I'm gonna take
Your boy Josh.
yeah, I've been taking a little bit of Allen, but let me see how much time. Oh my god, 5 seconds. All right, I'll take Allen.
Dude, you can't go wrong there.
I mean, I was thinking about taking Lamar maybe. But Allen's fine.
I like it. Honestly, you can't go wrong with either, but I definitely lean Josh Allen.
Yeah,
I
me
like
too.
Josh Allen.
Me too.
He's my favorite quarterback in the league. So
Yeah, me too. Yeah. He's to me he's the funnest player to watch.
hell yeah, dude. He's like Superman out there. He can run somebody over and throw a football 80 yards and like the heart. Like he's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
He's awesome. He's somebody, man, where it's like, you almost feel bad because it's like I feel like the Bills are holding him back. You know what I mean? Like I think like last year, like what Josh Allen did just shows you how incredible Josh Allen is. Like his number one receiver was Khalil Shakir. That's kind of
No,
incredible.
it was Mac Hollins. Mac Hollins led the team in touchdowns. Yeah.
Yeah, man, that guy, he's walking
No,
around the facility barefoot and shit.
yeah, I agree. Like, Bean's getting all pissed off. They're talking about receivers. Like, all right, maybe there's not that much out there, but like, I don't think you could rest on your laurels. Like they did improve the defense, which was big, but they didn't put up 30 points because, they had good receivers. It was because they had Josh Allen, so
100%.
so I don't know, like but it may, maybe Shakir takes another step up. Josh Palmer's not a bad piece. Kincaid's gonna have to step up. Keon Coleman's gonna have to step up. They bring in Elijah Moore. Maybe he can give him a little something. Do they still have Curtis Samuel, or is he a free agent now?
Hopefully a free agent, but no, I think he's still there.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he had Diggs, and Diggs is a little bit of a drama queen, so maybe they're just kind of afraid of, bringing somebody big time in again, messing up the chemistry. So they're just kind of, playing it small and smooth for now, and we'll see what happens. Maybe they'll bring back Cooper though, or maybe a Keenan Allen as well. We'll see.
Yeah, there's a lot of those old veterans. I feel like floating around right now, which is interesting.
Jamie says he thinks Ollie Gordon is going to take away touchdown upside from Achane. And Ollie Gordon, he's a big physical running back. Definitely could be on the goal line. Achane, he gets some goal line carries, but he's a little undersized. So not a bad point there. I mean, I'm not gonna say definitely, yeah, but maybe Ollie Gordon could kind of do something there. What do you think about Ollie Gordon?
Yeah, no, so I agree with Jamie's vision, and I get the logic too. I just disagree on the player. So I like Ollie Gordon. Last year was funny. Like a lot of people thought he was going to be the first running back to
Yeah,
go
he was
this
getting
year.
all the hype, and now he's just like nobody wants his ass.
Yep, he fell off a little bit, and then it was like where he went. It was an awesome pick for the Dolphins because it's like, dude, at worst you're getting an awesome depth piece, but I think that is definitely going to happen. A running back's going to step up and take some goal line touches and kind of take over that Raheem Mostert role. I just think it's Jalen Wright. I think Jalen Wright kind of people are sleeping on because he had it's his second year right now. He's kind of like the old toy. But I think, when you look at what the Dolphins did to get Jalen Wright, like, dude, they traded up in the fourth round last year. Pretty sure they gave up like a third round this year. Like, they gave significant draft capital to make it happen. I think that year one, he got the rookie treatment. I actually heard Raheem Mostert talk about this. Like, he's like, dude, Jalen Wright is a very good football player. He thinks he's going to be special, but I think he's going to come in and be that thunder to A-Chain's lightning. So I agree with Jamie. I just think it's going to be Jalen Wright, but I do think one of them is definitely going to step up and help carry that load.
Yeah, I like Jalen Wright last year too, and that was Achan he was kind of an enigma last year. People were like, well, you got to take him in the second round, and then some people were calling him a bust because of Jalen Wright. A lot of people thought Jalen Wright was going to step in, but Achan just gets so involved in the passing game. He catches so many passes. and that just keeps him so productive. I mean, rushing wise, he really hasn't. His rookie year, he was getting all those big runs, and he really, I mean, he had like those 3 or 4 games where he had like those monster performances and had some really big runs. But last year, like in the running game, they didn't really do much. He wasn't really that great either. It was mostly most of his fantasy production was just coming from, getting in the passing game.
Yep.
So we'll see. I would give Jalen Wright the nod too, but I did like some things I saw out of Ollie Gordon. I'm not going to totally dismiss him. Am I up right now?
I think you're coming up.
Oh yeah, I'm up next. You took your boy. I think you take him in every single draft, bro.
Dude, dude, he's just, I think he's such a value where he's going. Like, I really do. But yeah, my third round pick, I went Rashee Rice. Similar logic to Nico Collins. This guy was on pace to be a top 5 fantasy wide receiver before Patrick Mahomes decided to dive into his knee and take him out for the rest of the year. But Rashee Rice has progressed nicely. I've seen his workouts. I think he's going to be ready for OTAs. And definitely he'll be ready for the beginning of the. I'm sorry, he'll be ready for the beginning of the year. But also, I read a little bit even better news is that like with his court case and everything that was going on with that car accident, like that's getting pushed off, so it's not going to affect him this year. So I love Rashee Rice. I think he's going to be the wide receiver 1 there. And then my 4th round pick, I went with my boy Omari and Hampton. I know me and you are on the opposite of this. I do like Najee like you. I just think Najee was more of an insurance policy. Like they signed him before the draft. I think that's just showing you that, like, hey, man, like, we kind of got into the playoffs with J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards last year. And that was impressive, considering they're older and injury prone, right? So they wanted to have a guy they know that if, Dobbins gets hurt or whatever, they have a guy that can carry the ball for 30 times a game, 1,000 yards. Or if the rookie that they drafted, like let's say that, like they didn't get the guy, now they have Najee, but if they do draft the kid and he gets, anything can happen, he could get hurt. Now they have an insurance policy. I think Hampton is an amazing football player. I think there's a reason why they drafted him in the first round. I think he's just a perfect fit for that offense. I think he, well, at least worst case scenario, he's going to split with Najee, right? And then I think he'll just eventually just take over that role and run away with it. So, but I just think there's too much value here. I do like the Chargers this year. I think they're going to be a really good team.
Yeah. Again, I went through my process with Hampton, but I'm going to double check them. And, my opinion could change right now. Again, I just see a 50-50 split, maybe like a 60, 40, something like that. Maybe at most a 70-30 towards Hampton. But, you definitely could be right, man. The fact that you're so in on him, and a lot of people love him too. It's not just you. A lot of respectable, like Greg Cosell loves him. But you just got to go with your own process. So we'll see.
Absolutely.
We'll see what changes in regards to Amari and Hampton for me. But I'm not going to totally just say I'm out on him yet because we got a lot more time before the season starts.
No, for sure. And I get your out, dude. Like, I think that is going to happen. Like, I think Najee will definitely be a factor while he's getting his feet wet, right? But then it's just going to, like, the talent is there, man. I'm telling you, this kid is Nick Chubb. Like, he is going to, once he has that breakout game, it's gonna be over, And what we like even more about him is like the Chargers have the setup to have an elite rushing attack. You know what I mean? It's not like they
Hampton
don't.
like a elite tackle. Like he's not. He doesn't break a bunch of tackles though, doesn't he? He kind of goes down.
Oh yeah, and he's one of the more athletic tight ends. Like his RAS score was top 45 of all time, and that goes back to 1987. Like this kid is a monster, dude. I'm telling you, he does it all. And he's the second most yards after contact in the entire class. So yeah, man, there's a lot to like in his profile.
Okay, I'll have to double check that because I noticed he seemed like he went down kind of easy. But I noticed some obviously he broke some tackles too. But who knows? Maybe I just like wasn't paying full attention against. That's why I like to double check everything before I make my final decisions. All right, man. So back to the draft. We got let's bring back the board. Sorry about that, guys. Ernie takes Rasheed Rice, Hampton, and then Trevion Henderson, and he's back on the board again here.
I'm going to take Calvin Ridley. So I was watching a little bit of some like camp notes on the Titans, and Kent Ward looks as advertised. They're talking about how crazy his release is,
Yeah.
and I'm starting to think like let's say this kid is legit. Well, who's he going to throw the ball to? And it's Calvin Ridley, right? That's especially this year. Calvin Ridley is getting up there in age, but I think he's at least got a year or two left. So I'm
Yeah.
banking.
Well, it's going to be a lot more accurate than freaking Will Levis throwing the ball. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
right. And didn't he have 1,000 yards last year with Will Levis?
Yeah,
So
I think he did. Yeah, and then Cam Ward is also using that technology that Daniels is using with that simulator. I actually read an article about that today, and it's pretty interesting. The guy actually tried it out, and he said, they input all the plays, and it's just like it's they can use it anytime, they could bring it anywhere. So, I think that's going to help him. Just with his process. So I like Cam Ward. He's not going to be like Daniels with the running stats. He's not going to be, give you those type of fantasy numbers. But again, I think he has a chance to have like a CJ Stroud type, rookie year, something like that. And I think he's going to get better and better as his career goes on. All right. And Ridley, I've always liked, he's getting a little older now. There's some other weapons there, but I don't mind the pick. All right. I got to go back to receiver
yeah,
here.
I'm hoping for this year's Terry McLaurin. You know what I mean? Get a
Yeah.
really good quarterback there, finally throwing you the ball, and then you get me. If I get top 15 wide receiver value out of Calvin Ridley, that was a hit.
Yeah, so I have 2 Niners now. I have Kittle and Jawan Jennings, and I need another receiver here, or should I go to running man? I'm going to go back to receiver. Judy. Guess I'll go back to Jerry Judy. I mean, nice year, breakout season for Jerry Judy. Finally, we'll see who ends up throwing him the ball. But I think whoever it is, he's going to be the number one. Now, Tillman's going to be back healthy. Maybe that throws a little bit of a wrench in things, but that could help him also. So, but I think Judy's kind of on a good trajectory now, coming off a 1,200-yard season last year. I think he keeps it going and he stays consistent. Early on in his career, he struggled with injuries. Probably needed to grow up a little bit. Maybe just getting out of Denver into Cleveland kind of was a good move for him. And I think he's under a good coaching regime. So I think Judy's on a better trajectory on his career now.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And if Joey Cool is starting there, I love that pick. Like you look at my boy Josh Downs last year, right? 4 games he played with Flacco. He absolutely crushed it. So Judy's playing the slot just like Downs is playing. As long as Joey Cool is man in the helm there, I think Judy is going to be an awesome value, without a doubt.
Yeah, but I mean, even if it's Pickett's obviously you don't want Pickett throwing.
You don't want Pickett. You're going to want to hope that
I mean, Gabriel has a ton of experience as a quarterback.
Stefanski loves him, apparently.
So does Sanders. So I feel like both of them could kind of run that system, and so I feel comfortable with any 3 of those guys. But yeah, obviously Flacco, you feel more secure because Flacco has just helped these guys put up fantasy numbers, and he knows any system he's pretty much in, and he played in that system last year.
He's the white Jameis Winston, dude. They're the inverse of each other.
Pretty much. Good point there.
They're the backup quarterbacks that if they start for fantasy, they make the wide receivers elite.
All right, you're coming back up here, and you took
I went Matt Golden there.
Matt Golden. I kind of like that pick. Now, so that's going to be a plethora of receivers once again. No Christian Watson, but you still got Reed. You still got Dobbs. You still got Wicks. You still got Kraft. They're still going to run the ball with Jacobs, but it is the 7th round. I like Golden as a prospect. What are you thinking there?
Yeah, I get that, and I get that vision. I look at it kind of like the opposite, where it's like, yeah, they have decent pieces. Like we know what Dobbs is, we know what Christian Watson is, we know what Dontavian Wicks is, and Jaden Reed is a solid slot receiver. They don't have like an alpha there, right? Like the player that I wanted to invest in this team before they got any receivers was Tucker Kraft, but now Uh, you know, I think Matt Golden steps in and he's their alpha wide receiver one. I think he was the best separator in the class. So I'm going to take a chance here just on talent meeting a good situation in an offense that is starving for a number one wide receiver. And I think that's why last year you saw Love kind of, spread out the wealth. He didn't really have that go-to guy. I think Golden will step in and he's going to be that go-to X receiver that this offense has been missing. And
Right.
again, it's all just a guess, but I do love his talent. I think the talent is legit. And I think it speaks volume that the Packers, a team that doesn't take receivers in the first round, finally did for the first time in 20 years. So
Who do you see Golden as like who would you compare? Like what's his pro comparison?
he reminds me a lot, dude, of Stephon Diggs. Now, I'm not saying he's going to
Mm.
be Stephon Diggs, but like you watch him, man, like there is a lot to like he is, in my opinion, he was the best separator in the class, and he's kind of similar size to Stephon Diggs. I think they're both like 6 foot, but like he runs a 4.2, I think. Like that's what it was, a 4.2 or 4.3. So
Mhm.
like there's a lot to like in his profile, man. Again, I think Green Bay is trying to get that established, like, go-to receiver in their offense, and I'm gonna gamble on Matt
Yeah.
Golden.
Yeah, I mean, you could say, "Oh, well, he's going to spread it around," but maybe just one of those guys wasn't really good enough to step up. Maybe they thought that was going to be Reed. Maybe they thought that was going to be Watson. So yeah, maybe Golden just sticks out right away and really just gets a little bit more force fed than usual from
Yep.
Jordan Love. All right, I'm back on the clock here. And I like the value of Brandon Ayuk here, man. I really do.
Yeah.
Um, Now, he's dealing with his own little injuries, but it's best ball, so you could deal with a little bit better. So I'm going to take Ayuk here, and let me just see. I have two running backs, four receivers, one tight end. Let's see. Scatabo, Najee, Pittman, Higgins, Trey Harris. How much time? How much time do I got?
5 seconds.
Oh shit! All right, I took Higgins. I do like him. I do like him. Now I know you like Trey Harris. I have to. I'm not like I haven't made my full assessment of Trey Harris, and he's in a great situation too. He's with Herbert, so I think that's a good pick there. Keon's not a bad pick. Not really thrilled about Pittman. Ibuka, yeah, I feel like at some point he may play a big role there. Shahid's nice. I like Beck. Kyle Williams. So yeah, let's go with Higgins there. I mean, playing with Stroud, alongside Nico, maybe a lot of things open up for him. No more, Tank Dell's going to be out the whole year. They did draft Jalen Noel, but Higgins, maybe he has a pretty solid rookie season. I do like his talent.
Yeah, no, I think he's going to play that big slot role, man. I think he's going to, help man and take, make up for the losses of Stephon Diggs and Tank Dell. I mean, he has talent, man. He was really good at Iowa State. So I think that's a good pick, man, because there's going to be some boom weeks for him.
Yeah, no, 100%. Playing with a very capable quarterback in CJ Stroud. Now, Jamie says Ridley in the 6 is a steal, and he also says they may play Judy more snaps outside and use Deontay or Fannin in the slot. Deontay Johnson, I mean, can you even factor him in anymore? Now, I love Fannin. I think Fannin is I'm
Yeah,
gonna start taking Fannin in these best ball drafts because he's not really being drafted right now. So in a DK where you get two more rounds, I do like Fannin, so I feel like I'll take a flyer on him. But what do you think about Deontay? I mean, I don't know, man. Like, he's just a mess. He was on he got cut and re-signed, but four different times last year. Traded, cut, picked up, cut again, picked up. Insane.
yeah, no, that's a guy that I think I'm fading. I just think he's probably more of a depth piece at this point. Fannin is interesting though. That's a guy where it's like you could see him, getting some usage out of the slot, trying to find different ways to utilize him.
Dude, when I
But
watch Fannin, I mean, when I watched him the first time, like, this guy's freaking unbelievable. Like he just stood out to me right off the bat. I'm like, this guy's good. I mean, sometimes college tape, it can mess you up a little bit, but I don't know. Like he just seemed like he was completely legit, explosive, stiff arming guys, run after the catch, plays with ferocity. I mean, just I loved Harold Fannin, what I saw on tape. So we'll see how that all works with Njoku there.
Yeah, no, he's that will definitely be interesting for sure. But I'd imagine that they have a plan for him. He's such a dynamic player and he's such a good, receiving weapon. So Stefanski is smart enough offensive mind to, get usage out of him.
Yeah, I think maybe it will take him a little while to get accustomed to things, and maybe it's not year one for Fannin. Maybe it's more of a dynasty play this year. So we'll see. But dynasty for sure. I love investing in him.
All right, I'm about to be up. This is I hate when they're like all your guys are there because it's so hard to pick between them.
Yeah. There's the board back up for everyone. Herbert and Harris. So you got the stack there.
I do, man. I think, it was only like not even 2 years ago, Herbert was going first in super flex drafts and startups. Look, I think the Chargers are now in the same situation offensively as they were when you saw Herbert, have those two monster years, his first 2 years. I think Trey Harris is going to enter that Mike Williams role. I think Lad McConkey is going to, keep killing it from the Keenan Allen role. I think they have one of the best offensive lines in the NFL. They have one of the best coaches in the NFL. I'm all in on the Chargers this year. I think they will take a massive step. I think they're going to be very, very friendly, fantasy friendly offense. Obviously, their identity is going to be running the ball, but Justin Herbert is going to easily throw for 4,000 yards this year. And I wouldn't be surprised if he throws for more than 30 touchdowns as well. So I think he's a value here. I think if you hit on this stack, it could help you win some leagues because I do think Trey Harris is going to crush 1,000 yards as a rookie.
Now, do
I
you
really
think
do
he's
that.
like he? I mean, obviously AJ Brown comes out of Ole Miss too. I mean, as far as comparison, you think AJ Brown's a much better prospect, right? Or you think it's
Yeah,
closer? You think it's closer?
I think it's closer. Like, obviously, you got to go with AJ there, right? Because
Yeah.
AJ was not only a freak prospect, but he's producing at an elite level. But no, I think it's closer than people think. I don't think he's that far from AJ Brown and Metcalf. And he's like, I'm a Trey Harris fan. I love him throughout the draft process. I wanted the Giants to take him. I don't think you could have asked for a better landing spot. Where I think him and Lad McConkey are like, I don't think like Lad McConkey is this wide receiver one that's going to, kill any other wide receiver's value that goes there. I think it's very similar to what I was saying, that offense for a few years ago that the Chargers ran when you had Mike Williams and Keenan Allen both producing at elite levels. Now you just get a more solid, durable player in Trey Harris than you did with Mike Williams. And we all know Lad McConkey's a stud. So I think both are going to eat in this offense. I think Justin Herbert's going to get back into that elite status. And I think the Chargers are going to have an awesome offense this year.
Yeah. That's what he needs. He needs another receiver again. Quentin Johnston has been a disappointment, showing flashes, but for the most part, he's been mostly unreliable. What are they doing at tight end, Chargers?
So they drafted a fifth round tight end that I like. They actually traded back into the fifth
Oh,
round,
Gadsden,
top of
right?
the fifth.
Yeah.
Yes, so Rondi Gadsden. Dude, this kid is like a very underrated receiving tight end. Again, this year, like it was running
Because
back.
they had Stone Smart, who I kind of liked, and they didn't bring him back.
Dude, he was he was one of my like big fantasy pickups last year because I thought he was going to run away with that starting job. So I actually appreciate you saying that. But now he's with the Jets. I'm pretty sure he's with your Jets now. so smart.
Yeah. Yep.
And so that tight end room is completely vacant. So this was a very
Yeah.
deep tight end class. He's a very athletic receiving tight end. Jim Harbaugh was like gushing about him, like saying how they love him. They have a plan for him right away. And now, again, it was tight
Yeah.
end running back.
He's in a good spot. Now they do have Conklin and Disley, two veterans
I'm
with
not
good.
worried about that, man, at all.
Yeah, yeah, but you always have to factor in the veterans.
Well,
Especially it's because the rookies, it takes a little time, especially tight ends, for them to adjust. I'm not saying like Gatson definitely could produce, but I'm just saying you have. I mean, Conklin and Disley are pretty much they've been pretty solid throughout their career, so it's just something to think about. Now Gatson could hop them, somewhere along the line for sure. I'm just saying,
I just think
Conklin and Disley have been pretty solid throughout their career.
I just think he's a tight end that fell in the draft because it was a deep tight end class. Where it's like in a normal year, I think he would have been, went earlier. But yeah, I just like the receiving upside paired with Justin Herbert because it's like Conklin and Disley are good blockers. I think we've seen their upside as receivers, right? But I think they're trying to build a potent offense around Justin Herbert and try to get some explosions going. And it was just the way they were talking about a fifth round pick, it kind of had me like open my eyes a little bit because I'm like, wow, they really, really like this kid. So yeah, it's definitely something to watch. But Disley is very underrated. I do agree with you. Disley's an underrated player.
Yeah, Conklin's not bad. I'm not saying these guys are like anything great, or very good, but they're just like solid veterans. So it just like when you have two guys like that in the way, it could just take a little more time than you expect. Jamie says Elijah Moore vacated 6 to 7 targets per game, so I like Fannin in the slot. I think that'd be great if they moved him there. Trey Harris, 76% catch rate, over 65% contested catch rate. And Jamie says, when has Disley been solid? He gets hurt a lot. Yeah, he's always hurt. That's been the issue. But I feel like when he's on the field, at least he does some good things. He had like
He
that
looked good.
one good. He had like that one pretty decent year in Seattle,
He
but then
started
like
off.
he tore his ACL. So yeah, I mean, I just feel like he's a veteran that could just stay in the way, and he's not to say he's anything good or very great, but I just think he's solid. But yeah, he's been banged up. One season with 400, I think he had more than that, didn't he? I don't know. I got to look back at his stats, but
He like had a hot start to one year and then he like tore his Achilles. But
yeah.
then last year, before he got hurt again, when he was starting for the Chargers, he was actually producing.
Oh shit, I'm up again. Hold on. Let me go back. I'm looking at freaking Will Disley stats. I'm not paying attention to my draft. All right, I'm taking Kyle Williams. Did I miss a pick or I still got one left?
You got one
All right, I got
left.
one more. Okay. Let's see. I'll take Kincaid since I have Josh Allen.
You didn't take Kyle Pitts?
No, forget about Kyle Pitts. I mean, it's not bad here. It's not terrible to take him.
I'd go with Kincaid. Like, I would just
Yeah, since I have Josh
bank on
Allen.
that breakup. Yeah.
Yeah, Jamie's right. Like I thought his numbers were a little bit better. I mean, he really hasn't done anything. I mean, the 1 year he was off to a pretty good start. He had 4 touchdowns, 262 yards in 6 games, but then I think that was the year he tore his ACL.
Yeah,
And then
dude, there was
he kind of just played a backup role basically the rest of the time. But he stayed healthier. But yeah, his first 2 years he played 4 games in 6 games. But yeah, he really hasn't done much. Jamie's right. Last year, 481 yards, 2 touchdowns, 50 catches,
well,
64 targets. Go ahead.
this is why I think Gadsden is going to take over that role. And that's what I was saying. Like last year for the Chargers, he looked good. Like he was the starting tight end for a little while. But the only other time outside of that was like Seattle. I'm pretty sure it was his 3rd year. Like the first 4 games he took off, and then he tore his Achilles. So yeah, he's always been more of like a backup player.
Yeah. And Conklin, he's just like he's nothing explosive. So yeah, I'd like to see Gatson step up, and I'm sure they want him to. It's just that historically these tight ends start slow, but maybe he's one of the tight ends that just gets it right off the bat.
Yeah.
All right, where you at?
So I went my last 2 picks. I went Bishal Tootin and Matt Stafford. I went Drake May before that, but I'll talk about some of these guys in the recap.
Drake May was a great pick. I mean, Drake May is a great pick in the 11th round.
Yeah, dude. Like I love the Patriots this year. I love Drake May. I think Drake May has the upside to be the best quarterback from last year's class. Yes, that is over Jaden Daniels as well. Sky's the limit for this kid. They're finally have the coach.
It's gonna
They're
be
building
tough
an
to be
offensive.
better than Daniels, but
I think the upside is
maybe he can
there
come
and the
close.
talent is there. I know it's
Yeah.
crazy to say, but I think when they build around Drake May and he has weapons, I think he will compete and people will start to see that this year. You know, obviously the team that just made the NFC Championship game and had the rookie of the year, you
Yeah.
know, is going to be the sexier pick. I
Yeah,
just think
it's gonna
that
be tough, but I wouldn't completely rule it out. I mean, I wouldn't
no.
say no chance. No.
Dr- Drake May he's a truck, man. Like I love him talent wise. And then Tootin, you know, ETN, I saw an interesting nugget. He'd even show up to mini camp. Listen, like I think the
OTAs,
Jaguar
you mean?
OTA, sorry, yep.
Yeah.
I think you know, the Jaguars are ready to move on. I think
Mm.
that was kind of they gave you know that away when they were going to draft RJ Harvey, right? But the Broncos took him in the second round. So they're looking to upgrade that running back room. Then they got another running back they like in Tootin. I think, you know, Cohen handpicked this kid. I think he's going to have playing time from week one on. I don't know if he's going to be Bucky Irving, but I do think you will see similar utilization. And then I went with Matt Stafford. Dude, I love the Rams this year. I feel like Stafford is a value at that pick. I think with Devontae Adams, Puka Nakua, a solidified tight end room, Sean McVay, like I think he is going to explode this year. So I really like Stafford late.
Yeah, ETN is interesting. Now we'll see if he shows up at the mandatory mini camps. I think the middle of June. But you know, if he doesn't show up there, then obviously he's disgruntled somehow. Maybe he gets shipped off, and in that case, his Tootin lights up. He's going to move way up draft boards. I took ETN. I feel like at this point, you know, I feel like he's the best running back, maybe on the team, but maybe Tootin's better. It is possible. And maybe ETN is, you know, he doesn't like the new regime, but who knows? I don't know. I feel like ETN's got something to prove. And, you know, again, he was a really good prospect coming out of Clemson. I don't think his career is quite over yet. So we'll see how that backfield shakes out because obviously playing with Liam Cohen, everybody's looking for that Bucky Irving role. But Bucky Irving probably is more so, you know, just you know, it's his talent that really shine. But you know, certainly Cohen's system could help the running back as well. Yeah, Stafford. You know, now you have May and Herbert. That's a really good combo at quarterback, and you
Yeah.
take Trey Benson as well.
Yeah. So
I
I
like Trey Benson coming out last year. I really like his talent, just sitting behind Connor, but maybe he gets a little bit more burn this year.
oh yeah. I definitely think he'll get more burn. I think that'll be more closer to a 50-50 split. I still think James will get the lion's share of that. But dude, James Conner, as much as we all love him, like dude, he's 31. He's one
Yep.
of the more injury prone players at the position. So, you know, you kind of gotta, you know, add that in, factor that into the equation here. And it's like, you know, if he was to go down, Trey Benson is a borderline league winner. So I'll take Trey Benson in round 14.
Yeah. No, I think that's a really good pick there for sure. And you know, he probably had to learn some things as a rookie as well. So he'll probably be better in his sophomore season. Um, Cedric Tillman, I think he's a good pick here.
I
I'm gonna
take
take
him.
it.
Yep.
And running back, got Justice Hill, Jalen Wright, Roshan, Jamie on the board. How many quarterbacks left?
Not many.
So
Cam Ward's at the top of the
I'll
yeah.
take Cam Ward here. I mean, I've been taking Richardson late in these drafts too, but I like taking Cam Ward too as a backup for Josh Allen.
Hell yeah, man. No, I mean that's good value. I think he's got a really underrated arm. I agree with you. I don't think he's gonna have all that rushing production, but I do think the talent is legit from what I've seen and what I've read. And um I wouldn't be
Yeah.
surprised if he put up like solid QB2 numbers this year.
Yeah, Cam Ward for me again. We'll probably release some, you know, videos here, but Cam Ward for me, He likes to stay in the pocket. He doesn't really look to run unless he has to. He can run a little bit. He's not a big time runner, but he can definitely throw the ball with accuracy. Has a pretty solid arm. He seems pretty smart. He's got a ton of experience moving to all different programs. And I think they put some pretty good weapons around him. Now he's using the same, virtual reality that Jaden Daniels was using. And I think that's going to become more and more popular, maybe not for the veterans, but for, as these rookies come into the league. So Cam Ward, maybe 30 total touchdowns in his rookie season. I could see it. And think about it.
Oh,
Derek Carr threw 30 touchdowns once in his career. So,
well,
that'd
that's
be
why I
pretty.
like Calvin Ridley, because it's like he has that upside, and it's like, all right, who's he throwing the ball to? You know what I mean? So I'm with you there. I think the talent is legit, and that's why it's like Calvin Ridley almost seems like a value in best ball and redraft this year.
Yeah, I mean, I used to love Ridley, but I've kind of like been off him. And are you concerned about Aya Manor, Restrepo, even, Cam Ward's boy, maybe a little bit more Quanquo this year? But yeah, you're right. Ridley should be the number one guy. And again, Will Levis was so inaccurate. Um, and then Mason Rudolph. It just hasn't been good. So Ward, maybe they develop a really nice connection. You got to think Ridley's got to be pretty damn excited to have a number one pick in the building.
Yeah, dude, they were already showing the throws of Ward to Ridley, so there's going to be a little bromance there. I mean, dude, I am a IU Manor fan. It just again, it's a fourth round rookie, so it's like, are you the next Amon-Ra St. Brown? Probably not. I think he might be a good complementary piece. But I think, if I had to bet on it, I think Ridley is the alpha for this year. But I wouldn't sleep on IU Manor. I think he could be something. Um, I don't know how fast it will, his takeoff will be though. That's what's going to be
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, I kind of like some things. I did take a little bit more of a look at him. I like him too. It seems like he makes some big plays. I Manor. So I think I think they have some nice pieces. I'd like to see them use Chig a little bit more this year, and they got a pretty good tight end room there. They drafted that rookie out of Texas too, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and then they got even Josh Weil. I thought is pretty solid. So yeah, I like their tight end room. Still got Pollard. Still got Spears. Titans should be interesting this year. Not so sure about Callahan as a coach, but we'll see. Oh, and there goes Roshan to Rothbury. So Roshan is off the board. Neither one of us got him, Jamie. Sorry about that, bro. You take Pat Bryant, who you've been talking up a lot, possibly, um, you know, becoming that second receiver in Denver behind Sutton, and also Terrence Ferguson, tight end with the Rams, playing alongside Higbee. You think he could jump Higbee this year?
So what I usually do is what I want to get. I try to get the stack of Ferguson and Higby because I like Tyler Higbee as a player. Here's the dilemma, right? Solid football player. You saw the production last year, but then you have McVay talking about Terrence Ferguson like he's Travis Kelsey. So I like to get both. I think that the volume the volume could switch every week between them, or it's going to be Tyler Higbee's job until he gets hurt or Ferguson outplays him. So I like to actually just nail down that room. But I love the offense.
Yeah. And Jamie says, did you just say Mason Rudolph on the Titans? I thought he was, yeah, he's a Steeler now, but he was with the Titans. Obviously he beat out Will Levis last year and he became the starter. Back on a clock. Oh, I get Aya Manor. So they auto pick me Aya Manor right as we were talking about him.
That's a good pick, man.
I'll
Yeah.
take it. I got 11 seconds. I was talking to Jamie. Jamie, you're messing me up, bro. Yeah. I got autoed again, I think. Who did I get? Tyler Show. Okay. I didn't want that. I did not want that pick. Jeez. I mean, he might be the starter for the Saints. So, and I actually think he should be the starter because I'm not big into Rattler. So, But as far as college quarterbacks, Rattler was probably just as good as Show, if not better. So we'll see what happens with Show. I don't know. I know some people. I know Greg Cosell really likes him. To me, he seems like he's like a Joe Flacco type quarterback. He's got a pretty decent arm. He's pretty accurate. He can make all the throws on the field. Makes a lot of mistakes too, but the competition isn't great. So, but I didn't need him. I didn't need another quarterback with Josh Allen and Cam Ward. So that was shitty. I would have went another route.
Tyler,
You're up.
imagine he's the next like Tom Brady.
I mean, you never know. I mean, he could throw the ball for sure. I don't know how he's going to make it in the adjust to the NFL, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Jarquez, that's who I wanted to take. I wanted to take Jarquez Hunter. We love him. And, Kyron, we'll see what happens with Kyron. I think Kyron's got Kyron's going to hold on to that job, but I do think they're going to want to give a little bit more burn to one of these guys. And it could certainly be Jarquez Hunter. I do like the talent. Again, he kind of reminds me of a Dobbins, Kyron type player.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you, man. And this pick is more of just like an insurance. Like, will Kyron Williams probably have the same role that he had last year? Sure. But he is on the last year of his rookie contract. There's a lot of tread on his tires. He had that big fumble in the NFC Championship game. McVay loves Jarquez Hunter. That was their top pick of day 3. So I think you could see, a rookie come in and he'll get a little bit more run than we thought, right? And he is factored in, and maybe that role will grow throughout the year. And it becomes a thorn in Kyron Williams' size. But I agree with you, man. Like, he has the juice. He literally is an athletic freak. I love the upside here. And again, if something were to happen to Kyron Williams, right now, you hit a grand slam, because I think he's one of the better handcuffs in fantasy football this year.
Yeah. Guys, make sure you're liking and subscribing to the show. We really appreciate it. We got tons of Dynasty content, best ball, redraft. We're going to be doing another Super Flex Dynasty draft soon. Scott jumps in the chat. He says, is this the only DK you're doing tonight? If not, I would love to get into the next, just getting home from work. I don't know if we're going to do another one. We're maybe thinking about jumping over to Underdog. We'll see. But definitely hit the subscribe button, man. If we don't get into the next one. Jamie says, what if Quinn Ewers is the next Tom Brady? No chance. I think Quinn Ewers stinks. I think Jamie's joking there, obviously.
You don't like Quinn Ewers?
Nah, to me, I think, from what I saw, and I watched a couple of Texas games and some highlights. I didn't think he was too good. But I don't know, man. You seem to like all the rookies, so I don't know what the fuck is going.
No, I
never met a rookie you didn't like, bro.
No, trust me, there's a bunch. I don't think Ewers is Terry. He actually, I didn't know this. He played all last year with like a torn oblique. So actually a pretty tough kid.
Maybe he was better the year before.
He was definitely better. Yeah, dude. Because he had first round buzz going into this year. Like, a lot of people thought he was going to be one of the first quarterbacks off the board. And then, similar, like, he's like the Ollie Gordon of the quarterback position, just like a crazy fall off.
Yeah, no, I remember that. Yeah.
Damn, somebody put Daniel Jones. I'm pissed.
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, I love Daniel Jones. It's a disgusting pick, but it's like, dude, if he wins that job, there's going to be so many fantasy points from that offense.
All right, there's a couple running backs here I like. I'm going to take Rashard Smith, taking him a lot. And how many receivers do I have now? I have 8 receivers, 5 running backs. I need another running back. I would take Marshall and Lloyd here, but you know what? I'll take Woody Marks. Do you like Woody Marks? Do you like Woody Marks?
Yeah, no, I do. I think that's actually a really good pick, man. So they traded up to get him. Like, and they traded a lot to go up and get him. And like Joe Mixon, like, low key, I feel like he misses games every year. So I think he's a really, really good fantasy football handcuff this year. So I think that was a good pick.
Yeah, coming out of USC. I got Marshall and Lloyd also came out of USC. I do like Marshall and Lloyd, but again, we just talked about he's got another He's still kind of rehabbing, but plenty of time to get back. Maybe his sophomore year is a lot better than his rookie season. But I want, somebody's got to get a little bit more burn there in Houston. And Damian Pierce, I don't think is very good. So maybe it's Woody Marks. Let me bring the draft board back up. We have 2 more rounds to go. So, yeah, you did get the tight end room of the Rams there, bro. Terrence Ferguson and Higbee. Again, McVay is great at manufacturing touches to his tight ends. I think Higbee, like 2 years ago, his ADOT was like 1 yard because he just caught a bunch of like delayed screens. And it was just like somebody that set up passes. And I think he likes Higbee in there because he's a good blocker. So we'll see with Ferguson, though. Ferguson, obviously, more like a receiver. But yeah, now you got it cornered. And you also take Elijah Arroyo, rookie out of Miami, playing alongside Sam Darnold.
Yeah, no, I think there's a lot to like there because they're actually talking about, which I think is cool, and like this is a good fantasy football nugget. So they think that Arroyo could actually fill in their X receiver role. So if you have a tight end that a team is using like a wide receiver, think about that in terms of fantasy football and especially PPR. So if they have this kid lining up as a tight end, an X receiver, expect to see a lot of volume coming his way early on. Their GM thought he was a top 15 pick if he didn't get hurt. So again, this is round 19. I'm gonna tight end. I didn't really, I had Trey McBride, and then all I did was added the Rams tight end room behind him. So I want to take a flyer at that position, and hopefully I throw a wet paper towel at the wall and it sticks. But I like the vision and what I've been hearing about Arroyo. I think it could be very fantasy friendly.
All right. Last round here. Who are you looking at? What's your build so far?
So who I'm looking at right now is some deep sleepers. Like I like Jimmy Horn from the Panthers. Apparently he's been lighting it up. I do think he's underrated. Like I think the
You got
Colorado
4
receivers.
tight ends. You got 3 quarterbacks, 5 running backs, 7 receivers, 4 tight ends. You going running back? Or are you taking
No,
Horn?
I think no. I think I'm actually probably going to take Roman Wilson from the Steelers.
I like Roman Wilson. I liked him a lot as a rookie, but again, they didn't play him. It seems like the Steelers do that. They kind of bring their receivers along very slowly.
Mm-hmm.
But I loved him coming out of Michigan. I thought he played with a lot of energy. I was excited about him. He just was hurt the whole season, never really got a chance. So I like that pick.
Yeah, man. I think they will eventually sign Aaron Rodgers. I don't know what's going on, but Aaron Rodgers will be the quarterback there. So I do think some of the offensive pieces are a little undervalued right now because a lot of people, I think, are going into the year with the anticipation that it's going to be Mason Rudolph, right? I think it will be Aaron Rodgers. I think that, Aaron Rodgers is obviously a shell of his old self, but still, the Steelers have a good team. They have a good roster. And I think Roman Wilson has the most juice on the team. Like DK Metcalf is a stud, but Roman Wilson is somebody you can line up in the slot all over the field, man. And the Steelers are really, really good at drafting wide receivers. So there's a good chance that this kid is a stud. I'm going to take it here just because it's my last pick. I think he's going to be their starting slot receiver. So there's some value.
Okay. Yeah, no, I like it. With no more Pickens in the way. Now, there's a chance they could bring in Keenan Allen, right? We'll see. I mean, that would seem like a good spot for Allen. That would maybe like intrigue Rodgers a little bit more. But even if Allen is there, I do think Wilson's going to have a better season this year. There goes Vele. There goes Cole Kmet. And I'm going to take Fannin with my last pick.
There you go.
Yeah. So I get that's my 3rd tight end. And he's free. Again, he's not being drafted. I think that may change at some point. I think Fannin is a guy that, potentially if Njoku's hurt or something, or he takes even a bigger role, or like he gets a slot, gets, a role in the slot, like Jamie was mentioning, could be really, really solid. Maybe they want him just to use him more as a receiver in the slot. So I love it as a late pick. Gets my third to tight end. I'll go over my team real quick, and then Ernie, you can go over yours.
Yep.
I got 3 quarterbacks, 6 running backs, 8 receivers, 3 tight ends, and then we'll get into your questions. I know you guys got some questions.
Dude, we had like the same build. That's actually really funny.
Oh yeah, we do. Oh no, you had 5 running backs and 4 tight ends.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, I started out with Jamar Chase, then I get Bucky, then Josh Allen, Kenny Walker, George Kittle, Jawan Jennings, Jerry Jeudy, Brandon. I have 3 Niners. I didn't realize I took 3 freaking Niners. Jaden Higgins, Travis Etienne, Jaden Blue. I'm a little bit intrigued by him. I want to research him more, but I feel like I kind of like his prospects. Maybe stepping up in that Cowboys backfield. Kyle Williams, I like a lot. Dalton Kincaid, hopefully gets over that sophomore slump along with Allen. Cedric Tillman was very solid. Then he got hurt. I think he could revive. Cam Ward, Aya Manor, Stack. Tyler Show was an auto pick. I did not want him, but I did not need him. Brashard Smith, I like him. The new Jet McKinnon. Woody Marks, we'll see if he gets a role. Then Harold Fannin, one of my favorite tight ends in the draft. All right, go ahead, Ernie. What's your team?
Yep. So I got Justin Herbert, man, in the QB spot. Then I got Omari and Hampton, Travion Henderson. Henderson is the only pick where it's like him and Chuba Hubbard were on the board, and I do love Chuba. So that was a tough decision, but I'm gonna go with Mike Vrabel's running back, best pass protector in the class, and I think Travion Henderson is a do-it-all electric back. Then I went Nico Collins, Rashi Rice, Calvin Ridley for my top 3 receivers. I went Trey McBride at tight end. And then my bench, I got Matt Golden, Josh Downs, Trey Harris, Drake May, Bashul Tootin, Matt Stafford, Trey Benson, Pat Bryant, Terrence Ferguson, Jarquez Hunter, Higby, Elijah Arroyo, and Roman Wilson.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You have 11 rookies and sophomores.
I look at it like, man, they're just values. A lot of people, they're like scared to draft rookies and young players. And I mean, look, it's every year we see rookies and breakouts all the time. JSN was a sophomore player. Brian Thomas Jr. was a rookie. Lad McConkey was a rookie. So these breakouts and these players having value are very real.
Bucky,
I think you're getting them at a discount. You know what I mean? So obviously you're not going to hit on all of them. That's why, you want the meat and potatoes of your team to be established stud. The one position that you really shouldn't shy away from rookies is running back, right? That's the easiest position for players to adapt to in the NFL. So, but outside of that, like obviously receivers and tight ends, usually they're brought on a little bit slower. But even then, man, you see it happen all the time. So I try to target the players that I think the talent is lining up with the playing time. Like there's a clear path to playing time for them. So I'll just take a gamble on the value.
Yeah, I think 2 years ago the data said it was 7 rookies and sophomores was like the target. So yeah, I mean, if you could hit on like 5 or 6 of these guys out of the 11, that's gonna benefit you a lot. I do like Jarquez. I like Roman Wilson. Tootin we'll see. Trey Harris, I'm intrigued by Golden. I like Henderson and Hampton. So all solid picks, man. Trey McBride, Nico, Rashid, very, very tough. You got a good quarterback room. So pretty good draft, man. Let's see if what we got here. I know we had a question here. Should I trade Cortland Sutton or Golden or keep Sutton to go back to back?
Trade him right now if that's in your inbox and take Matthew Golden and don't even like, even if Sutton has a great year, like just ride Golden into the sunset because he's going to be a stud. I really do love Matt Golden. I don't even think Sutton will be on the Broncos next year. I think this is his last year there. In terms of, you want to talk about like, you're talking, am I scared of, somebody taking Calvin Ridley's role? If I was Cortland Sutton, I would be afraid of Pat Bryant. This kid is, he was basically a second round pick. He was a stud in the Big Ten. And Sean Payton said there's a lot of similarities to Michael Thomas, and you saw Cortland Sutton with those drops, especially in the playoff game. So I think this could be, Pat Bryant could be Cortland Sutton's replacement. So I would take Matt Golden without even thinking in that trade.
Yeah, I like Cortland Sutton. I think he's solid. But if it's dynasty, 30, 31 receiver, yeah, that's what I'm doing. He's got 12 teams, super flex, PPR, half point tight end premium, 4 points TD. He's got Allen, Love, Darnold, Gibbs, JT, Chuba, Jettas, St. Brown, Puka, Tyreek, Adams, Sutton, McBride. Yeah, so your team's stacked. You can get a little younger there because you do have Adams, Tyreek, a little bit older receivers. So yeah, I mean, if it's dynasty, I don't mind doing it. Let's see. Value wise, it's Golden, but league is low activity and feel like I'll be stuck with him in 2025. I think Sutton scores more than Gold. Yeah, I mean, this year, this is a dynasty league, right? I'm expecting Sutton to have a better season than Golden, but Golden could have a better season. Maybe you never know. But Sutton's been very solid. 2 years ago, 10 touchdowns. Last year, 1,200 yards. I think maybe another double-digit touchdowns with Bo Nix. So, but yeah, dynasty. I think you make the move. Jamie says, I love Roman Wilson, 18 dynasty shares. Dulito says, are you doing another draft? We'll tell you in a second. Just a reminder, Scott Fishbowl 15 scoring comes out tonight on Fantasy Cares. And his Dynasty podcast starts in 15 minutes. We love answering questions in the chat too. So, Jamie, you want to share your link? You feel free to do that, brother. All right, man. Do you want to do another draft? I mean, we're on for an hour 16, so might be kind of rough. But we'll be back. It's up to you. I mean, I don't mind. I think we should probably call it a night, but
I'm with you, dude. I'm down to do another one like tomorrow night or Friday.
Yeah, definitely, guys. Hit the like, subscribe button. We're going to be doing like 2 or 3 of these a week. And we're also going to be doing maybe tomorrow a super flex dynasty draft, because dynasty drafts are kind of still in full gear. I know they're probably getting wrapped up, or a lot of people did them already, but it's still kind of like dynasty season, and it shifts to best ball, and then we'll get into redraft. But we got to get at least one more super flex dynasty draft out there, so that's why you got to hit the like, subscribe. But this was great, Ernie. I think we both got pretty solid teams. We'll monitor it along the way. Head over to fffaceoff.com. Anything else you want to say, Ernie, before we get out of here?
No, man, I thought we both had great drafts. I want to thank you for taking Tyler Shuck, though, so I could get my boy Charquez Hunter. But yeah, man, no, it's going to be fun to track the entire year. I'm looking forward to doing it tomorrow or Friday. Hopefully we see you guys for the Superflex Dynasty rookie mock tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll be back for that tomorrow, and then probably another best ball over the weekend for sure. So again, make sure you stay in tune to the channel. Then you guys could hop in the draft with us, whether it's Underdog or DK. So that's it, guys. Take care. Have a great rest of the night. Oklahoma City's up 30-11, so it looks like Oklahoma City will be advancing to the finals, and most likely against the Pacers. So we'll see. But that's it. Take care. Have a great night. We'll talk to you soon.
Have a great night, everybody.